I don't know about you, but I could use an encouraging word, and I think I found one that may be helpful. I've been seeking a word from God, and what I found is in Isaiah 54. I'm using the contemporary English version, and here goes, beginning with verse 11, Isaiah 54. Jerusalem, you are sad and discouraged, tossed around in a storm. But I, the Lord, will rebuild your city with precious stones. For your foundation, I will use blue sapphires. Your fortresses will be built of rubies, your gates of jewels, and your walls of gems. I will teach your children and make them successful. You will be built on fairness, with no fears of injustice. Every one of your worries will be taken far from you. So, any discouragement in our world these days? There's a lot. And anger, hatred, actions taken against others that are terrible, mistreatment of others, sometimes even violence that leads to killing. There's sickness, and there are rumors, and there are people who accept what they hear from the scientists and those who say, oh, I don't believe those scientists. There's so much going on, and it's so challenging. And the writer of Isaiah, Isaiah the prophet, receiving a word from God, says, Jerusalem, you are sad and discouraged. There are ways I'm sad and discouraged about what this world is like. I have some happiness, I have some joy, I have so many blessings, but there's still some sadness and some discouragement. And indeed, we are tossed around in a storm of coronavirus and natural disasters and civil unrest and injustice, and it goes on and on. But the message of God is, but I, the Lord, will rebuild your city with precious stones. I'll use blue sapphires for the foundation. Your fortresses will be built of rubies, your gates of jewels, your walls of gems. Listen to that. It's for everyone. It's a common wealth. It's a shared wealth of blessing. It's not just going to 1 or 2 or 3% of people who say, oh, we're the winners, we get all of this. Nope, it is built for all in the city to enjoy. The city that is the best city, whether it's Jerusalem or any city, is one that is built up for the good of all, for the common good, for the blessing to all who are in that city and those who are committed to building up community, to making the community better for all in the community. Then they are doing that which joins with God. They're co-creators, building up the city in the way it needs to be built up. And listen, our future, people have often said, well, the youth are our future. They're our present, too. I am thankful for grandchildren and for other children and youth and for what I experience in them right now. They bring me more joy, more hope, more excitement, more enthusiasm. I'm grateful for them right now. We need them right now, no delay. But also, the writer, the prophet Isaiah, the words come, I will teach your children and make them successful. Oh, that's what I want for my grandchildren. It's what I want and wanted when I was a young father for my children. It's what I want for young people in our churches, in our schools, and all around is that they will learn and be successful. Although the word successful, I'm not as concerned with their financial prosperity as much as with their character and with their joy in life, with those internal kinds of things that aren't necessarily things you can have just because you have money. In fact, you may have little money, but let's say you have honesty and character and joy and love, and well, those are riches. Those are true riches. And then the 14th verse of Isaiah 54 that says, you will be built, Jerusalem, on fairness with no fears of injustice. Boy, I want my community, I want my nation to be built on fairness with no fears of injustice. You know, I bought in to what I was saying over and over and over again as a child in the Pledge of Allegiance that concluded, and with justice for all, everybody. But that's not always true. There are too many injustices, and we should all care. Anytime any of our neighbors, anybody around us, anybody in our community, in our nation who is treated unjustly, that should matter. It should matter to us. If it doesn't, our hearts are too small. I've always liked the Grinch story. In the Grinch story, he has a shriveled heart. He needs a larger heart. And eventually, the Grinch becomes more what he needs to become. We need to be more generous, more caring, and we need to care more that others have the chances that they need at life. You will be built, O Jerusalem, on fairness with no fears of injustice. And you know, when that happens, that decreases the anxieties that we feel. If we're anxious people, guess why it is? It's because there are too many injustices, and we're afraid about protecting our stuff, and we're worried about all kinds of things that might happen or could happen in our world, when we need to be more secure in our relationship with God and in building up loving, caring, better community. And the writer goes on to say, every one of your worries will be taken far from you. Think about how much better life would be with that kind of peace. So, Jerusalem, you're sad and discouraged, but it doesn't have to stay that way, because the Lord can build up your city and you can join in. The Lord can help your children to learn just what they need to be successful and happy and prosperous and spiritually the way they need to be. And O city, O Jerusalem, O USA, O Sunnyland, O Peoria, you will be built on fairness with no fears of injustice. Let's see what we can do about that, cooperating with God, seeking to have truly justice for all. God bless you. God bless this country, and may this country increasingly bless God too and bless others within.